Hey guys, welcome back. Looks like we've got Kerbal loading up right now, which is a good thing. It's one of the what? Hold on a sec. Well, that's not good. Hold on. Why not? Alright, well, looks like it's not going to give me a recording of this. That's okay, I can download it from YouTube later. So yeah, we're gonna get started with a new career in Kerbal Space Program today, and we are going to find the right one here. There we are. We're gonna see what we can get done today, but this is going to be an ongoing series in which we're going to try to visit the entire Kerboler system. So we're gonna start a new one here. We're gonna call this Hammer 1, sure. And what do we want to do for a flag here? I guess I better make sure my stream is actually up and running here. Live. So, yeah, there it goes. Cool. And a weird thing last night with the Planet Crafter, where I was trying to keep my stream up for chat purposes on my phone, but my phone wasn't playing the stream for some reason. Like, it kept saying that it was waiting for me as the player, or as the creator to get on and create the stream. But apparently YouTube at least recorded it, because I noticed that the video was there this morning. So if you want to get caught up on the Planet Crafter and you didn't catch the stream last night, then go back to my live channel, or my live videos page on my channel, and you can catch up on any live streams that I've done over the past couple months. So yeah, let's see if we can figure out some kind of flag for our space program here, because that's what we are. We're starting a space program. And how about Kerbin Moon? Sure. And we are doing a regular career. We're gonna tweak the options just a little bit. Missing crews respawn. Ooh. So either we don't revert flights, and we lose whoever we lose if we blow somebody up or strand them somewhere. Which, I mean, if we strand them somewhere, we will try to retrieve them at any rate. So either we don't revert flights, which we can uncheck that, and I won't be able to revert. Say if I have something go wrong mid-flight, I won't be able to stop there and go back to the launch pad or back to the drawing board and rebuild the ship, or account for whatever screw up that I did that resulted in rapid unplanned disassembly, for lack of a better term, quote SpaceX and Elon Musk. Or if we are going to allow flights to be reverted, then there's no need to have missing crew to respawn. So since there's nobody currently watching, I guess we will not allow reverts. That scares me. But after 2 hours of losing a Kerbal, they will respawn, and we'll be able to potentially rehire them. Not sure. I've never actually had to do that. That's not to say that I'm good at this game, because I'm very much not. Um, let's see. Auto hire crew members, no. No entry purchase required on research. Yes, we want to leave that. I think that means we don't have to spend money to unlock the research building. Indestructible facilities, no. What that is really is basically if you have something go catastrophically wrong shortly after launch and your parts of your rocket come crashing back down to the planet, they could potentially land on your space facilities and do damage to them, in which you would have to pay money to repair them. So I'm going to leave that unchecked. I don't want them indestructible. Include stock vessels. So this game has a sandbox mode, right? And what that sandbox mode does is it allows you to use all the different parts that are available in the game to build whatever you want to build. Whereas the career mode that we're on, those parts are locked behind research technology. But as part of that sandbox mode, they have these stock vessels that you can just load in and launch and fly and try to achieve missions with them if you so chose. And that's what these are. So we could include them, but I don't think I'm going to. I think we want to build our own ships from scratch every time based on the specific mission at hand. Persist Kerbal inventory loadout. No, I don't think we want to do that. And allowing other launch sites. I believe that the way this game works is other launch sites are hidden by default, but once you've found them and located them, you have the option of using them to launch from. I think that's the default. Unless you check this, then they're automatically available all the time. I'm not 100% on that. Re-entry heating, we'll leave at 100%. Resource abundance, we'll leave at 100%. Comm network is critical for realistic space situations, right? You need to be able to have communication with the ground, and sometimes you're on the wrong place on the planet to be able to do that, or the wrong place in a solar system. Hint, hint, to be able to do that. So we're going to leave the comm network enabled, meaning that we have to, or rather that there is a communications network in place. Okay, and then sometimes I like to increase the starting funds or science. Reputation is kind of irrelevant. I leave the rewards all the same. I think we'll just leave all that as is, and then we'll go over to the advanced options here. Enable Kerbal experience, meaning that you can view things from a Kerbal's point of view. Kerbals level up immediately, so basically you gain experience for your Kerbals as they complete different milestones on the or in the solar system. And I'm assuming, I don't know because I've never used this option, that once they hit that milestone, they'll level up immediately in situation and give them the perks of whatever that level up is for them. We'll leave that not checked. Negative science and negative money, we're going to leave that not checked, so we won't be able to quote unquote overdraw our bank account in either one of these situations. Part pressure limits, yes. And so this, if you hover over these, I believe you get a tooltip. Do parts fail when passing their pressure limits in dense atmospheres or deep underwater? Not sure on the water situation and how that works in this game because I haven't played anything with a water scenario. Part G-force limits, do parts fail when passing their G-force limits. I usually check that one. Same with the Kerbal G-force limits. Basically, do your Kerbals pass out after sustaining too much G-force? Yes. G-force tolerance 1.0. We're not going to put any multiplier on that. Resource transfers obey crossfeed rules. Not sure what that does, but I assume it has something to do with how you can move fuel and electricity from one ship to another when they're docked together, but I'm not sure. Always allow action groups, so you can set up action groups when you're building your ship, but you can't actually use them by default without checking this box until you reach a certain point in the game, which I believe is unlocking a tier 3 or level 3 tracking station. Again, not certain exactly on what that is. Or rather, which building in your space facility is the correct one for action groups. But I know you have to level up one of the bases or one of the buildings in your space base. Part upgrades enable stats upgrades for some old parts when new technologies are researched. We'll leave that checked. CommNet options require signal for control. So this is what I was talking about when you get further away from the planet and you don't have direct connection to the communications bases on ground. And I'll show you a little bit more of that once we actually get into the game. But this says probes require a signal for any control rather than going to a partial control when lacking a signal. So again, I'll show you some more of that when we get into the game and we start launching probes. But basically, probes are unmanned vessels, right? And so if they don't have communication with the ground control, then you don't get to do much of anything with them. And we're going to check that. We're going to leave that as realistic as possible. And then plasma blackout is enable comm links weakening and going down when the link goes through atmospheric plasma. And we're going to do that because, again, that is kind of realistic, right? And I think that's about all we're going to do with all the rest of this. Extra ground stations, that's part of the CommNet thing, and I'll show you that here in a minute. After we get orbital. So it's going to be more than a minute. So a few ships that we have to launch first before we actually get into an orbit of Kerbin, which is this planet here. And it's kind of the analog for Earth in this game. So we're gonna go. We've got our name, we've got our flag, we've set our game mode to career, and then we've set our difficulty options to what we want them to be. We're gonna go ahead and jump right in. And it says a game with that name already exists. Do you want to override it? Yeah, we're gonna override it because that one was just kind of a impromptu stream, and I guess I could have picked that one back up, but because I'm starting onto my schedule this week, I've decided that most, if not every game that I start on this week's schedule will be started as a new game. There might be a couple exceptions there, but for the most part, we're going to be looking at new starts or fresh starts for the games that I'm going to be playing on stream here. So like yesterday, I started a Planet Crafter stream, and I started a fresh start, even though I only had a couple hours into the one save that I already had in there. But first things first, we want to look and see. We have no science to spend. We have 25,000 Kerbal bucks to spend. We want that number to go up, right? The space exploration is expensive. So first things we're going to do is we're going to go over here to mission control, and we can have up to 2 active missions at any given point. So contracts, right? and we know that we can't get to orbit right now, so that eliminates that. Escape the atmosphere we might be able to do on our first launch, but I don't think we could. Well, no, I take that back. I think I could, even within the constraints that we have placed on us at such an early level. But one of the things that we know we can do is we know we can launch a vessel. That's our objective here, is to get off the ground, whether that's a rocket or a plane, aeronautics. Is up to us. We just have to get something off the ground. Launch your first vessel off the launch pad or the runway to achieve this goal. Pays us 3,200 Kerbal bucks and 1 science and 1 reputation. The reputation, again, is probably going to be about the last time I mention it. Does not really matter in this game. Not sure why the devs put it in there, if they had plans for it that just never came to fruition, or if they are legitimately just putting in an arbitrary stat that doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. It's there. We're not going to worry about it. The ones we are going to worry about is the money. So get 3,200 for achieving the goal of launching our first vessel. We get a 1120, which is a portion of that 3,200 just for accepting the mission. So once I click that checkbox there, we'll watch our money go up. And then upon completion of the entire mission, which is really just that one objective, we get paid the other 3,200, or the other portion of the 3,200 that doesn't cover. So these two combined are 3,200, and we get both of those, and we also get an additional 3,200 just for launching the first vessel. So remember what I said, that advance, that will go right up here as soon as I click this. Cha-ching, 1,120 Kerbal bucks. And we're going to do the same thing with gather scientific data from Kerbin. If you're not familiar with this game, you're going to be by the time I get done here. Hopefully we'll learn some things together. But some of these early game things I am well familiarized with, and I know that we'll be able to gather scientific data from Kerbin on our very first launch. And for doing that, we'll get paid 6,400 for gathering the data, and 6,400 for recovery of said data. 4,160 for recovery of the data, and the 2,240 that will get advanced by accepting it. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to leave here. We're going to go over to the VAB, the Vehicle Assembly Building, and this is where we build rockets. And on our very first rocket, we're going to put a little pod, because we're going to need a pod. Got to have some way to keep Kerbals. And on top of the pod, we want a way to come back down safe, because we are going to go up, and we're going to go up a little ways. And we want to make sure that when we come back down, we're coming back down nice and slow. And not at Kerbin's great rate of gravity acceleration. And then we want a way to get off the ground, right? So that means we need an engine. We don't have any fuel tanks yet. We'll get there. Engine, we've got the solid fuel booster. And just to double check, because this would determine whether or not we were even able to escape the atmospheres, this one engine is not enough to do that for just this little pod and the parachute that's on it. It won't get us there. And just an FYI, the top of the atmosphere for this planet is 70 kilometers, 70,000 meters. This one little engine is a solid rocket booster, so you can't control the output of it other than to set the thrust limiter now, which will slow down the amount or the rate of fuel burn, but you can't adjust that in flight on a solid. The SRBs are at whatever rate you set here your thrust limiter at before launch. That's where you're stuck through the entire mission, or at least until you no longer have fuel in that solid rocket booster. You can't shut them down. Once they're lit, and they will burn to exhaustion. And then no, off my screen. Thank you. And then we also want to, because we have to gather scientific data, right? So we're gonna grab some science, but you don't have much options. We only have the one right now, mystery goo containment unit. We're gonna put that right there on the side, close to the tip as we can, so that we maintain some semblance of aerodynamics. Excuse me. But yeah, we're close to the tip, so we're again retain some semblance of aerodynamics, right? So aerodynamic forces are going to be coming straight down from the tip, generally speaking, most of the time. We're going to be flying directly into the wind, so those aerodynamic forces are going to be coming down, and they're going to split over the nose of the rocket, right, in 360 degrees. And so what does this do to our aerodynamics? Well, if you look down on the top of it, it's a bulge that sticks out one side of the rocket. So ultimately, as those aerodynamic forces, the headwind, whatever you want to call it, is hitting the nose of the rocket, and it's spreading out, all the way around the rocket, it's going to hit that and encounter more drag than it is on the other side. And so ultimately, that's going to make that rocket tip off in that direction, right? Because the wind is going to catch more here, and we'll get more drag pulling this down and down and down. So what we're going to do to counter that is we're going to pick that back up, and we are going to switch our symmetry to radial mirror, basically. So I just put that back on there pretty much where I took it off of, and it put symmetry, or the symmetry put the exact same module in the exact same place, exactly on the opposite side. Okay, so now what do we have? We have, let's check our mission board real quick. We have things to gather scientific data from Kerbal. Bam, bam. And we're going to grab a couple, so we can maximize our science output from this launch, right? And then we need to launch our first vessel, so we have to get off the ground. So what else do we need? We need an engine. We have the engine. Check, check. Both of those will be covered as soon as we launch this puppy. What is the last thing that we need to launch? Excuse me, go away. To launch a crewed mission is we need crew. Well, in Kerbal Space Program, that is pretty much automatic. When you're building a vessel, if you have a crewed module somewhere in that vessel, it will automatically put crew in them, and you can take them out, put them in, put in whichever ones you want to put in, but ultimately it will just automatically default to a pilot first, I believe, an engineer second, a scientist third. After that, I don't know what kind of algorithm it uses to determine who ends up in a pod. But again, as long as you're being, recognize the fact that it will auto-load your pods for you, you can always click that little tab right there and switch out who you want in that pod at any given point. So if I decided, well, I don't really want to fly with Jebediah this mission, but I still want to pilot, well, we have another pilot available in Valentina. And we have the ability to hire more astronauts in the astronaut complex. I only done that one time, and it was entirely misunderstanding the game when I first started playing it. We will recover more astronauts as we go through some of the missions in the story here. So we're not going to hire astronauts unless we absolutely have to. Alright, and with all that said, we now have a rocket that is more or less ready to launch into the atmosphere. So all we got to do is launch. All right, so hey, Banna, no worries. If you think about the way that our planet rotates, right? The sun sets in the east, or rises in the east, sets in the west, right? So, where's the sun? The sun is that way. So, if we are the sun and we're looking at the planet from this angle, if the sun rises in the east, that means that the sun, the planet has to rotate in an easterly direction from an outside point of view. So this planet is rotating that direction. And as it's rotating that direction, we are here at Kerbal Space Center. As it's rotating that direction, we're at the equator for all intents and purposes, moving that direction. We are moving. As the planet rotates, we are moving on the planet's surface. And what that does is if we launch in an easterly direction, is we're actually benefiting from that rotation of the planet. I think I'm not sure the ratio for Kerbal to Earth. I think it's 1/6. So 6 Kerbins to make 1 Earth, which means Kerbin's gravity, Kerbin's atmosphere, etc., are all 1/6 of what it is on Earth. And I think that our equator is rotating at about 1,000 miles faster than, say, the 45th parallel, north and south. 1,000 miles an hour faster than those same spots on the planet, right? Because it's all, that longitudinal line is the same no matter where you're at on the latitude. But, the longitudinal line at 15 degrees is got a lot shorter distance to make a full circuit than your longitude, the same longitude at 90 degrees latitude at the equator. The Space Center here has a lot more distance to travel in the same amount of time as the 15 degree latitude, right? We are. I haven't launched a mission yet, and my launch pad is dirty. Rude. Must be for our static fires, right? Yeah. We'll call it that. But we're going to launch to the east anyways, which is that away, out over the water, and hopefully we'll have a nice soft water landing. Ooh, we didn't adjust our stages. I'm glad I looked. We need to add a new stage because we don't want the parachute coming out at the same time as the rocket launches. And while we're on the pad here, what we're going to do is we're going to observe this mystery goo. We have now got 3 science from observing this mystery goo, and we're going to keep that experiment. And then we're going to have Mr. Jebediah here get out of the cockpit. Oh, no. We need to get back in the cockpit. And we're going to take a crew report from the launch pad. So we now have mystery goo from the launch pad. We're going to take a crew report from the launch pad. Yeah? Another 1.5 science. We're going to keep that. And then we're going to get out. Hop on out, Jebediah. And we're going to do an EVA report. And Jebediah's got a little bit of a sense of humor. He's kind of a a sense of irony as well. He's a little bit cynical, kind of like me. And he doesn't have a problem speaking out when he sees something that doesn't make sense. And in this case, I don't think or I don't think a spacesuit was entirely necessary to get here, was it? That's a fair point, Jebediah. But we're gonna take that 2.4 science. We're gonna store that as well, and we're gonna have Jebediah take all of the all of the information, which in this case is just the crew report that he took from while he was inside. We're going to have him take that, and we're going to have him collect the data from this goo canister. You see that it's got an option here to restore, and it previously said to reset. I believe Jebediah could have reset it, but I'm not certain. In order to restore it, it takes a scientist. Scientist is the only one that can restore it, and a scientist is also the only one that could activate it from outside the pod. Anyways, we're gonna double check, make sure. Yep, all our experiments are in our hand right now. So we're gonna go ahead and just we could click this box here and say store the experiments, and it would. But if you just get back on board, it automatically stores those items for you in the pod. Alright, so we have now collected science on the launch pad. We're now going to zoom out a little bit, and we're going to launch to the east. Ready, set, go. What? Oh no. Did I just... I did. Oh no. Alright. Ruh-roh. Please don't break my chute. Please don't break my chute. Alright. We're in the air. We're gonna take that one and keep it. And we're gonna take a crew report and keep it. Yeah, I have my stages backwards there. Oops. But it's going to work out. It's going to take us a minute to get back down to the ground because I would have personally waited a little longer to deploy the chute. But it'll be alright. And we got some extra science, not quite as much as what I was hoping to get because we didn't end up in the water. But we might actually get something anyways because we might be far enough away from the launch pad to be in a quote-unquote different biome. Unfortunately, because we're still very, very early on in the game, we can't have Jebediah get out and do an EVA report standing on the side of the pod yet. We can't yet. Not until the pod's back on the ground. And once we get to the right point, we'll be able to get Jebediah out as the pod is coming down on a parachute, as it is in this given moment. And touchdown. And all I got to do is come up here to the top. Now let's get that off my screen. Come up here to the top and recover the vessel. And look at that. We got 22.4 science earned from the experiments, quote unquote, that we recovered from the things that we did while we were on the launch pad and after we left the launch pad. And then a little bit more on top of that, another 7.6, no, 8 even, 22.4 we earned from our science, and then the reward science that we got from completing those missions. So we have 30.4 science altogether at the moment. And we're going to click next. And this is the parts that we recovered and what we money we got back from recovering those parts, right? 2,716 funds from recovered parts. And we now have 93,659 Kerbal bucks. Remember, we started with 25,000, so just that one mission. Oh yeah, and we recovered everything except for the spent fuel on the rocket. Everything else we got the money back for, and we got full funds for all of that stuff as well. Just an FYI. So yeah, we just increased our money by basically 70,000 Kerbal bucks, and then remember I was talking about the experience that our Kerbals get by completing certain milestones. Well, Jebediah got 1 XP, 1 experience point for leaving the ground in a vessel, and reputation. I don't care about reputation, and now I'm done talking about it. I know I said that before, but now I am done talking about it. Okay, so next we have, we've actually got a couple options here. So with a little bit of money, we can upgrade our launch pad for 50,000, which gives us a bigger, higher capacity and vessel size than what we can currently do. If we don't upgrade it, we've got an 18-ton limit on our vessel, and no taller than 20 meters tall, and no wider than 21 meters. So for 50,000, we could upgrade that. The vehicle assembly building, we can't afford to upgrade, but we'll eventually need to. Currently, we are limited to 30 parts on any single rocket, and that is the entire vessel. So from it can't have more than 30 parts on it right now, sitting on the launch pad. Upgrade to level 2, basic action groups are available, and you get 255 up to 255 separate parts on any given vessel. Okay, irrelevant at the moment. We can't afford to do that. We will go in here in a minute to spend some of those science points that we just got, because we're going to need the stuff. In fact, we'll go ahead and do that now. So you get start researched, which affords you some of the basic parts, right? The few things that we used that Mark 1 command pod. We had a parachute for our Kerbal. We had a jetpack for our Kerbal, even though we didn't use it. We had the option of putting some fins on the rocket. Again, didn't use it. We used that solid rocket, that SRB there. We used that science part. We didn't use the girder segment. We did use that, and we used that pod versus that pod. Those are the things we started with. Those by default give us access to basic rocketry and engineering 101. We have 30.4 part science points. This one and this one both cost 5 points apiece to unlock. We're going to need both of these paths in order to progress and be able to do the things that we want to do. So we're going to start with basic rocketry, and what that does is it gives us our swivel engine, which is a liquid fuel engine, and that gives us the ability to throttle our engines to maintain efficiency more than anything. It also gives us a bigger solid rocket booster, bigger than the flea that we have right now. It gives us the hammer, which is twice the size, I want to say. And then it also gives us a liquid fuel tank to pair with the swivel liquid fuel engine. We're going to need all of that. We're going to go ahead and unlock that one right now. And then engineering, this one gives us a stack decoupler. So if you think of your conventional rocket, it comes in multiple stages, right? If you think about even Starship and Super Heavy and that whole SpaceX situation that's going on right now, and what they're trying to achieve with the Super Heavy Starship integration, is that's two separate rockets that are stacked one on top of the other, right? You got your Super Heavy booster with the 33 Raptors. That's your main ascent stage. That's how you get off of the ground and through the thickest parts of the atmosphere. And then stacked on top of that and held together essentially by one of these decouplers is Starship, which is, the part that's supposed to get into orbit and transport crew and cargo through space. It's held on essentially by a decoupler. We're definitely going to need that. We've got a thermometer. That's another science piece. Anything that you can do in this game to get more science is good for you. The more science that you can do in one mission will help get all the rest of this unlocked. And then we have Communitron 16, which is an antenna, basically. And the Communitron 16S, which is a different version of the same piece of equipment, just a different application of it. We're going to need that. So we got those. Next comes where things get a little bit tricky, because survivability 15, stability at 18, and general rocketry at 20 science, right? We have 20.4, so we can only unlock one of these with the science that we have left. So if we look at survivability at 15, that gives us heat shields to re-enter the atmosphere. A couple different sizes. One's really small. One is the perfect size for the bottom of the one capsule that we have. It also gives us the barometer, which gives us another science experiment to do per mission. I'm tempted to go with this simply because, like I just said, the more science that you can do in one go, the better off you are. Radiator panels, I haven't ever done anything with radiator panels in this game. I'm sure there's a use for them. I just haven't experienced anything that needs them through any of my playthroughs of this. Now, with that said, my playthroughs have been very limited and short-sighted. So we'll see if we ever come across a need for radiator panels in this. I don't see them, especially early on. We have landing struts, which allow us to return a vessel to some solid surface, right? Again, kind of a throwback to Musk there and the whole SpaceX team, and being able to land Super Heavy and ultimately Starship back onto a landing zone, right? They couldn't do that without legs, and that's essentially what these are. These are landing struts. They're very small legs, which are virtually useless in almost any application in this game so far that I've experienced. And then we've got drogue chutes, which are smaller, deploy at a higher altitude, and help slow you down as part of the aerobraking process. Which are radially mounted, which means they don't snap to a center point, right? And then they snap to a circumference around the perimeter of the rocket if you were looking down on it from the top. Same thing with these. These are basically the parachutes that I had on the tip, except they're radially mounted. And then a service bay, which allows us to kind of hide some things out of the way, so that they don't influence aerodynamic drag and create problems for the rocket. So again, I'm tempted to go with this simply for this and probably this. don't really have the need for the chutes yet. The landing struts, where we're not going to be returning things to the ground with any regularity. But I do know that we're going to be attempting to leave the atmosphere soon. That's one of our very next early goals, which just leaving the atmosphere, not really a problem with re-entry, and we probably won't need a heat shield because we're not going to be going that fast. And then if we go to stability, what do we get there? We get a different nose cone, which works great when paired with these radial chutes, but I don't have enough to unlock both of them. And these radial chutes don't do any good without some kind of nose cone, which the regular chute already accomplishes just by its design. And a nose cone doesn't do me any good without parachutes. So that nose cone wouldn't help me at all, because I would still be, if I bought this instead of this, I would still be reliant on that regular Mark 16 parachute. A bigger fin and a radial decoupler. So, I was talking about the stack decoupler right here. It moved. This was completely reversed. The stack decoupler separates stages in a stack. Well, these radial decouplers, what they do is they separate things off the side of the rocket. Not really useful for where we're at now. We'll get to this one soon, I think. I don't think there's anything here that we need at the moment. And then if we look at general rocketry, we get a Reliant liquid fuel engine, which is similar to the swivel, which we unlocked in basic rocketry, except it doesn't have a gimbaling nozzle on it, so you can't direct where your rocket is pointing with just this engine. So that's not really helpful for where we're at. We also get an even bigger solid rocket booster, the Thumper. Those are helpful, but you need the radial decouplers for those. So general rocketry, again, not helping me out much. It also gives you a bigger fuel tank than what we got with basic rocketry. It's twice the size. You got the T200 here. This was a T100. Exactly twice the size, exactly twice the weight, and exactly twice the cost. Well, maybe not exactly twice the cost, because it's still an even number, and everything's an even number in this game. So nothing entirely useful here either. So I think we're going to go ahead and unlock survivability, which will give us access to this science piece, and it will give us a place in line to store our science experiments. So we're going to get that. Okay. So now we've unlocked all the parts that we can unlock. To unlock the next tier of research and development, this building's slot here, 451,000. Right now we can only spend up to 100 science points to unlock something. And we just unlocked 3 things with 20, but as you progress steeper and steeper down the tree, those things get progressively more expensive. If we upgrade to level 2 for that 451,000, which obviously we don't have, we can get science up to 500, and then our astronauts. Oh yeah, that's a point. Astronaut complex upgrade required for off-world EVA surface samples. So in order, that's just off-world surface samples. Not worried about that at the moment. We're not leaving the planet yet. But the big point there is the science limit goes from 100 to 500. Not helpful for us now. Let's look at the astronaut complex. So currently we have a max capacity of 5 active Kerbols. We have 4 currently ready to, that are mission ready essentially. And Kerbols can disembark only on Kerbin, which means as long as we're on the planet, on the surface of the planet, even if that means the water, the Kerbols can get out. But if we upgrade, Kerbals can perform EVAs, which means they can get out of the vessel at any time, with or without any sense of common sense. And they can get out, and they can also place flags while out on EVA, but that's 75,000. So that's a pretty expensive upgrade considering what we have right now and what we get out of it. So we're going to hold off on that one for just a little bit. Let's look at mission control. Also 75,000. We're going to have up to 7 active contracts at any given point. Not really necessarily useful just yet. I think our best use of money is upgrading the launch pad. And then going back, well, what about the 150,000? And it doesn't change anything here. So, yeah. But if we upgrade that, then when we upgrade this, then we get not only the 7 active contracts at a time, but flight planning, which is incredibly helpful, as you will probably see here soon. So what do we have for missions right now? So it's still limited to our 2 maximum missions. We've got conduct a focused observational survey of Kerbin, 1, 2, 3, 4 different times, and these ones are all the same. It is go to a certain point on the map, somewhere on the planet, there's a threshold that you either have to be at, above, or below. So this is the place on the map, Bob's Legacy, which is going to be a biome for all intents and purposes. So you have to go to Bob's Legacy, and you have to be above 18,700 meters and take a crew report, all in that specific window. That's really difficult to do with a rocket, to get into a specific altitude kind of situation. So all of these focused observational surveys, I'm going to ignore for the time being. We might get to them if and only if we start dealing with faster than sound flight, supersonic flight. Maybe. In which point we're using airplanes and jets instead of rockets to get around on the planet. So we're going to ignore those. What else do we got? We got test the swivel engine landed at Kerbin. That's free money. Activate the part through staging sequence when all test conditions are met. Conditions are on Kerbin, which we are. We haven't left yet. So would be there, and landed, which means on the ground, right? Doesn't mean we had to have launched in order to complete landed. All we have to do is launch from a landed position, and it will satisfy the requirements of this mission. That is basically free money right there for looks like 6,000, a little over 6,000 Kerbal bucks, right? Test the Mark 16 parachute in flight over Kerbin. So this one has got a little bit more in specifics, and you'll find that some of the testing things have some very specific things that we have to, requirements that we have to meet. On Kerbin, yes, flying, obviously. Altitude 3,000 to 10,000 meters, so 3 kilometers to 10 kilometers. That's a pretty decent window with the rocket technology that we have. Speed, that's a little trickier. Now that we've unlocked the swivel engine, technically we could complete that one too, and that one gives us another 31.5. So one mission testing a couple parts could net us basically everything we just spent, or pretty close to it. I think it'll come up a little bit shy, but that's okay. So I think we do these two, get us some free money. So that one and that one. Then we go build another rocket. I'm thinking we ditch this engine. We're gonna keep that on there. We'll get rid of those because we've already performed those tests. But we will go ahead and throw... Oops, we want science. We'll throw a barometer on there, and we're gonna do one on each side. And we throw a thermometer on there. Again, one on each side. Sorry, give me just a sec. Sorry about that. Dog was going nuts. I'm trying to figure out what was going on. So we've got our new science parts on there, right? And then we want... What are our mission requirements? We want to test the swivel engine, right? And then test the Mark 16. So Mark 16 is already there. That's that, right? Double check, make sure we got the right part. Mark 16 parachute. Mark 16 parachute. Done. On there. Now we got to get that whole thing up to between 3 and 10 kilometers at 110 to 280 meters per second. Obviously, that takes some go juice. Well, we just happen to get some go juice by unlocking it. And I think we probably want a few of those. So if you want to duplicate a part, just hold Alt while you click it, let go, and click it again. And I'm gonna go with, I think, 4 of those. We're gonna put our new shiny snazzy swivel engine on there. We're going to fix our staging so that we don't have that situation again. So engine, then parachute. Parachute's at the top of the rocket. It should be at the top of your stage. Right? I wonder if maybe I shouldn't, with all this extra weight, put some extra parachutes on here. So I think I'm gonna. We're going to grab the radial chutes, and we're going to we're going to slap it there. We're going to move that and that out of the way so we can put the chutes as high up as we can, and then we'll put those things below the chutes. And hopefully they don't burn up on the way back down. The idea is to not be going that fast. So hopefully we'll barely be hitting the speed of sound. I think 280 meters per second is the speed of sound. So we shouldn't be going supersonic, at least not initially. He. But we've got a rocket. Where are we at parts wise here? We have 13 out of 30. We can afford to put some aerodynamic fins on this. I we're going to go with triple radial symmetry here. So we're going to have 3 fins, and that'll help kind of help keep us pointed into the wind as we go. I'm not going to bother naming it, and we're just going to launch. And this will automatically put Jebediah back in the pilot seat. He is your default in this one. I'm hoping that they give us a little bit more direct control over that in Kerbal 2, but without forcing us to choose every mission exactly which Kerbals get to go. Alright, so when we look back at our mission board real quick, the mission board says that we've already met the requirements for the swivel liquid fuel engine, and all we have to do is activate that part when the test conditions are met. We've already met the test conditions. All we have to do is activate the engine. And then for the parachute, we're on Kerbin. We have the Mark 16 on us. So all we got to do now is get up above 3 kilometers at 110 meters per second. Shouldn't be that tough to do with this rocket. Shouldn't be. So we're going to press T to turn on SAS, that's Stability Assistance. And what that does is it just tells Jebediah here, hey, try to make this rocket keep pointing in the direction that I tell you to point it. So right now, we're pointing straight up, and as long as I don't give any other inputs, Jebediah is going to do his best to keep us pointing straight up. We're also going to increase our throttle because we now have a liquid fuel engine. We're going to get a little bit closer just because. It's a tiny itty bitty little rocket. It's kind of cute. Itty bitty. Not going to go very far. But it's not going to take a lot of thrust to get this thing off of the ground. If we look at our stage right now, it has a thrust to weight of 3.47. That means it's got 3.5 times more thrust than it needs to get this rocket off of the ground. So it will accelerate very quickly if we open it up. And again, it's a liquid fuel engine now, so we can control how hard we're pushing. So we're going to put us at about 40% thrust, or 40% throttle, and I'm going to close our mission board to get that off of there, and we're also going to take care of these. Log, keep, log, keep, and we're going to do the same thing once we're airborne and stable. So let's see, throttle's set, SAS is on, we close that back down, and we're just going to go. Alright, so we are now moving at 20 meters per second. We need to get 100, and we'll actually open our mission board back up because we've got Kerbin and flying. We're well under the 3 kilometers, and we're rapidly approaching the 110 meters per second threshold. But that's okay, and we're going to accelerate faster and faster and faster as we get higher because we have less fuel. Like, we've burned almost half of our fuel now. We're going to start tipping off to the east just a little bit to get so if you look, that little orange dot right there, that is the direction that the ship is pointing. Need to slow down because we're rapidly, actually, we can probably shut off. Nope, off. And we're still within the threshold. So I think we go ahead and deploy our chutes. And that should accomplish all of the missions all at once. We should have enough chute here to slow this puppy down. And just in case we don't, we got plenty of fuel that we can say, yeah, we're going to slow down. Oh yeah, and then we need to do our other sciences. So we're going to log, keep, log, and keep. We're going to take a crew report from the air. We already did that one, so no reason to now. But we're also maybe front row. Oh, we're still a fair ways up. Doesn't look like we're gonna hit the water, though, does it? Well, no, we're kind of drifting back out. Yeah, we could probably turn SAS off here, let the rocket hang naturally as it should. Oddly, it's not hanging very vertically. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, plenty slow enough. I think this thing has a 9 to 12 meters per second impact tolerance, and we're just gonna hit the water, I think. Wish it would tell me where exactly I'm at, biome-wise. Flying over Kerbal shores. Alright, well, go ahead and close the mission board. We don't need that open anymore. At 5 meters per second, this is going to take a little while, so this game has actually incorporated something called time warp. It's not really time warp at this stage, but it just says that it is there at the top center, time warp. This is more like a physics warp because we are having physics forces applied to us in this situation. But that's okay. We're not moving nearly fast enough for that to be of any serious impact whatsoever. But we'll still slow down just before we hit, so that physics don't go all weird anyways. Alright, we have now made it back down to Kerbal. We're going to take a crew report, maybe, from the surface of Kerbal shores. Excellent. Gotta get a little bit more science. And then we're going to have Mr. Jebediah hop out and take yet another EVA. Still doesn't think the space suit was necessary, but we're going to keep the experiment, get back on board, and recover. And once again, we just essentially pulled a SpaceX and launched a reusable rocket. Everything that we have on that thing, we still had, except for the fuel that we burned. So we got 26 science off of that mission. We're back up to 39 now. Every penny that we spent improving... Yep. Let's go back to that. So yeah, we've covered the science. Here's our money. We got all our money back from that rocket, except for the fuel that we burned launching it. Every other part is there, accounted for, and we get every penny back except for her. Weird. So the thermometer, parts valued at 881, we got twice that. Oh, because we had two of them. Duh. But yeah, we got every penny back that we invested into that ship, except for the fuel itself, and we even got some of that back. We got 19 funds back from the liquid fuel and oxidizer, and 12 from the mono propellant. So we're actually doing really well with money. For only having launched 2 missions, we collected somewhere in the realm of 200,000 Kerbal bucks. No XP for Jebediah because we didn't really do anything new. We launched off of the launch pad, went up a few kilometers, and came back down. So now what's available in the mission? Well, let's clear out our mailbox here. Yep. Milestones, right? World first milestones, performed an EVA test at home, broken a speed record of 25 meters per second. We've launched our first vessel, broken a speed record of 80 meters per second, altitude record of 500 meters, land distance record of 1 kilometer. We've returned to the surface. We've recovered our first crew from a mission. We have performed the first one of our experiments at home. We broke in an altitude record of 2 kilometers, a speed record of 250 meters per second, altitude record of 7 kilometers, land distance of 3 kilometers, and a splashdown in the ocean. And each one of those gets us a little bit of science, a little bit of reputation, and a little bit of money. So let's delete that one. Contract parameter, launched our first vessel, done. Contract complete, done. Contract parameter for scientific data, done. Contract complete, done. Contract complete for the swivel, done. Contract complete for the parachute, done. Alright, that covers our mailbox. Mailbox is clean. What do we got for missions? So we have some more money, free money here that we could do. Test the swivel at the launch site. To perform the test, activate the part through the staging sequence when all test conditions are met. So this one, the last one we had to be landed at Kerbin. This one has to specifically be tested at the launch site. Automatic as long as we're using that engine to launch our rocket, right? So that's free money right there as long as we are launching a rocket with the swivel. Test Mark II radial mount parachutes in flight over Kerbin, 2 to 10 kilometers, 120 to 270 meters per second. I mean, this is basically a rinse and repeat of the last mission. And then test the Flea SRB in flight over Kerbin. That one's a little trickier to do because we have to get up to 59 kilometers before we can even activate the part and be moving it at 170 meters per second. Just to activate it. Do we have the technology to do that now? Yes. Probably. But that's one that I might want to have up to 3, the next level of contracts, because if I do that, then I'm going to leave the atmosphere. No question about it whatsoever. Won't reach orbit that way. How much was it to upgrade? 75? That might be worth it. Might go do the upgrade and then come back and accept that one and the 2 above it, which would actually ultimately be accepting 4, but we get a limit of 7 with this. It still leaves us almost 50,000 to build with. We'll go back into mission control here. And we're gonna accept that one. Mark II-R radial mount parachute. 2 to 10. Oh, can't do that one and that one at the same time though. So maybe that one. And that one. We're back up over 70,000. Sorry, needed a sip. So we have 3 active contracts. We weren't able to do the one because we can't do it and the one with the flea to get up to, yes, I have to be up to 52,000 meters. This one I have to test under 10,000 meters. We're going to hold off on that one. Suborbital trajectory at 130 to 140 kilometers. If I get up there and try to test that thing at that altitude, it could be bad. So we're gonna hold off on that one. We're not hitting orbit yet. Hopefully we'll be able to do that one when we do that one. But again, we're not going to orbit yet. We're not quite ready for that. We're gonna leave here. We're gonna go check our research because I can't remember. I think we're okay, actually. We'll come back to this here in a minute, because we don't have that much. But we're going to get a bit from doing these missions. Alright, so what is our mission here? Our mission here is to get the flea up to 59 kilometers. And looking at it, that by itself is probably enough. But I don't know if this is enough to reach 59 kilometers. We burned through more than half of our fuel and we only got up to 7 kilometers. I don't think this is nearly enough. So, if I put this there, we got that, decouples and fires that, we have to be at 59 kilometers and 170 meters per second or better before we activate that stage. So technically I could put some of these on the side here that we would just shed when we shed this stage, but that makes me nervous. I think we're gonna do it simply because I don't think what we have there is enough to get us up to 59 kilometers at the right speed to be able to activate that and meet our test requirements. So we're going to put a few of these puppies on here and dock them in right in between the fins as low as we can go. And we're just going to carry those with us. Alright, so we've got our swivel. We'll be able to test that initially at launch. In fact, it will automatically test at launch, and we'll just keep our throttle down on it until we are or have burned through most of the SRB fuel, so that we have this as a secondary stage kinda, but we're going to continue dragging that first stage along with us. Not ideal, but hopefully we'll still be able to get to where we need to be to complete the mission. So we got to get up to 59 kilometers at 170 to 340 meters per second. I think this might do it, and then this here will kick us up out of the atmosphere by giving us that extra boost, and there's no atmospheric or virtually no atmospheric influence or interference from because the air is so thin that high up. So I'm 99.999% sure that we'll cross the 70 kilometer threshold, which is the top of the atmosphere of this planet. So let's close that, and go test. Maybe we take and put these on there. Because it's not really a test, because then we can't revert, but we have respawning Kerbals, right? So it's not so much a test. If it fails catastrophically, it fails catastrophically. But we've got all three of those, the swivel firing, then we separate that stage when the swivel runs out of fuel, and hopefully at that point we are high enough and fast enough for the flea to achieve its goal. Ready, set, go. And we are going to attempt to put a bit of a gravity turn on this to launch us in an easterly direction. Alright, so as soon as I press launch, we should automatically get the swivel mission marked complete. And it's the only one that will be complete until we get to 59 kilometers at 170 meters per second. And hopefully we achieve both of those simultaneously, or very close to simultaneously, in which case and hopefully the timing of that will coincide with the burning of the last of the fuel for the swivel stage. That way, when we fire that puppy, we'll be traveling upward at a somewhat angle, and will kick us out of the atmosphere and accomplish that goal. What did I just see? Seriously, what was that? I don't know. It was weird. Alright. Anyways, and we didn't take any of our science stuff off, which is okay, because we may actually have a use for it. In fact, I'm 99% sure that we will have a use for it, because we've already done our low atmospheric stuff, but I think we have some high atmospheric stuff that we can do. And we also have non-atmospheric stuff that we can do if we get out of the atmosphere. So if we reach the floor of space, or the ceiling of our planet, then we'll be able to collect a little bit more science. So let's see what happens. Start pushing off to the east as best we can, and then we'll fire up the swivel here and hopefully get this puppy back under control. It is definitely hard to move. We're definitely fighting some atmospheric forces. I don't know that we're going to make it to 59 kilometers. We're just about out of fuel, and we have a ton of drag. How high are we going to get? We're going to get up to 14 kilometers. Yeah, not even close. So, I mean, we completed one of the missions, I guess. We'll reach our apo here and launch. See how high we can get. If we can get out of the atmosphere, I don't think we will, but if we can get out of the atmosphere with this, yeah, 42 kilometers. That's it. Not quite going to make it. That's all right. And if you look over at our staging, over on the right hand or the left hand side there, down in the bottom corner, you see that my parachutes had just changed colors. They were red, and they went to yellowish color to a white. And the red says it's not safe to open your chutes now. The yellow says you're risking damage if you open your chutes now, and white says it is now safe to open your chutes. I'm still traveling up at a pretty good clip, and I'm still inside the atmosphere, so I'm not going to open them just yet. In fact, am I high enough up here that these will count upper atmosphere. Yes, they do. Fantastic. Now again, we won't get to space here, but we'll get a little bit of science out of these. What about upper atmosphere? Yes, a few more points there. All right, we are starting our descent. So we'll go ahead and turn off SAS. We got our chutes primed, armed, and they will deploy when we reach the minimum atmospheric pressure, which is like 0.04 bars or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is. And we toss and turn and toss and turn and toss and turn. Hopefully, I'm just trying to put your tip up there, buddy. Stay retrograde as much as we can here, so that we're not. In fact, we might actually kind of. No! Go back. Nope. Oh no. All right. Nope. Now we're definitely fighting the wind. Ruh-roh. This could be catastrophic because now we're ballistic and we're flying straight at the ground at. I mean, we are slowing down, but uh-oh. Come on, Jeb, flip it over. Come on, Jeb, flip it over. Oh no. I don't know that my chutes are going to open. Oh no, Jeb's about to die. 1.52 splash, doomed. Jeb just died. Oh. So basically, our problem was we didn't have anything to keep us stable in the wind, and we ended up flipping over and pointing our aerodynamic surface into the wind, and couldn't correct because we're too much wind force holding us in that position. That's unfortunate. Which means the science that we got was irrelevant, and we failed all the missions. Well, maybe not. I think we got the swivel liquid thing. Yeah. Altitude record of 22 kilometers. Land distance record of 10 kilometers and 32 kilometers. So I actually traveled a fair bit laterally. Alright, so what went wrong there? Well, what went wrong is we had no way of stabilizing our fall. So it might be a good idea at this point to put another coupler on there. And what that'll do is the bottom of that pod, if you look at it, is kind of dome shaped. right? And what that does is it makes it aerodynamically stable to put that face into the wind, and then the aerodynamic forces themselves will keep it pointing into the wind. Right. So that solves that problem. But we also know that this isn't enough. This isn't going to get us there. So what do? Do we put more fuel tanks? Am I over the part limit? Not over the part limit, oddly. Ooh, borderline. But do we have thrust to weight to get off the planet? Let's look at our... Oh yeah, plenty. Not off the planet. I mean, yeah, we're leaving the surface of the planet, but do we have enough to get to space? That's the real question there. Who's flying? Valentina, I assume? Yeah. Okay. Well, Val, let's hope you can do better than... Actually, maybe. Okay. Build. There we go. Maybe we put these on there now. And some fins for that. Right. So, yeah, we'll still be dragging these along with us. But we now have 3.67 thrust to weight. Off my 80 seconds of burn time for the entire stage. Now, if we were to move those, we'd have a little bit longer. Let's see. Let's add another stage, put those back on it. So that one's got a 6.11 thrust to weight and 80 seconds of burn time. This one's got a 2.86, but only 24 seconds of burn time. Yeah, I think we'll try it like this, and hopefully Val has better luck than Jebediah did. We'll see Jeb back here in a couple hours. We won't still be here in a couple hours. And we don't need to activate the swivel engine because we completed that mission. So we'll just ignite the SRBs, and once they are out or nearly out, then we will spin up the swivel and hopefully get enough thrust out of that to propel us up to the 59 kilometers that we need to be and 170 meters per second that we need to be in order to activate the next stage. So ready, set, and here we go. Use that swivel to give us a little bit of push over to the east here. Oh, it's not going to because we haven't activated it yet. Well, that's not ideal. We're slowing down. I'm trying to get that prograde marker to move over to where we're at. So yeah, I was trying to explain earlier, we ran out of time and stuff in flight to explain this. So that orange dot with the wings around it there, that is the direction that the tip of the ship is pointing. That yellow circle with the weird wings around it kind of looks like an airplane if you're looking at it nose on. That is the direction that I'm actually physically traveling. So as long as that orange dot is in the middle of that yellow circle, the direction I'm pointing and the direction I'm traveling are exactly the same. I think we're just gonna make it. Alright, let's get our mission board up here. Alright, we are way too fast. Way too fast. That's not good. And we're gonna go past our goal here. I didn't mean to go that fast, but I kind of needed to go that fast to reach the altitude thing, right? Alright, there's the floor of the altitude window. Still going way too fast. Need to do these real quick. Keep. Got them in the upper atmosphere. And now we got them in space. It says I'm not flying. I am very much flying. I'm still climbing. I'm gonna get up to 72.8. Yep, there we are. Just hit our top. Now the problem is that we're going to be speeding up on our way back down and not slowing down. So we're still not getting that flea mission. Alright, well, let's turn back to prograde here. And we'll pop our stage. Woo! And we're going to slow ourselves way down. We just went from 1,000 kilometers or 1,000 meters per second to 300 meters per second and nothing flat. Bye-bye. The other part, 18 kilometers away already. And we'll just let physics do the rest here. So you remember what I said about the bottom of this pod being aerodynamically stable. And I've turned off SAS, and you see how it's just kind of rocking in the wind right now? And that's because we're in very, very thin atmosphere. But as we get closer to thicker parts of the atmosphere, you can see the kind of like that blue line right there, and then that wider, lighter blue line, and then how it gets thicker and thicker and thicker, or brighter and brighter, brighter as we get closer to the surface. And how that kind of corresponds with the colors up here. But as we, yeah, there we go. Just transitioned into a thicker part of the atmosphere. And so it was keeping us aerodynamically stable, just the shape of the, the bell shape of the bottom of that thing. So, at least we accomplished one goal on both of those missions. One was a mission failure overall. The rocket didn't return properly to the planet. Killed an astronaut. It was a shame. But, keep moving on, moving forward. Jebediah, you'll be missed until you come back. And actually, that's kind of a question. When Jebediah comes back, does he still have that one experience point that he gained? Boy, Valentina looks really happy right now. Alright. We're at the screaming pace of 3 meters per second. We're going to fast forward time here. Do 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 do. And we're down. Do an EVA report from the ocean? Yes, you can. Excellent. Can you do a crew report from the ocean? Yes, yes, you can. Fantastic. Need a little pick-me-up? Alright. We got 51 science from that mission. Upper atmospheric pressure. So the barometer of the atmosphere got us 10. The barometer in space got us 12. Temperature scan in the upper atmosphere got us 7. Space got us 8. Suborbital flight got us 8. Nice, nice. I need to go play in the research department for a little bit. Now, we lost a lot of rocket there. We left almost everything behind. But we still came out way ahead of where we were. And Valentina, though she launched and left left the atmosphere, still only got 1 XP. So I'm thinking that the next milestone for a pilot is actually achieving orbit. Alright, so we got a little bit of money. We got a little bit of science. Kind of want to... Alright, can't. What about this one? Yeah, no, can't. Alright, let's come in here and take a look. So, we know that we want stability because we need that decoupler right there. We probably would have been able to do that last launch successfully if we had been able to shed those rockets, those SRBs off of the side of our rocket. So those radial decouplers are definitely necessary. So we're going to get that. We're going to get general rocketry simply for the bigger fuel tank and the bigger SRB. I don't like the Reliant. I don't use the Reliant hardly at all. But what next? Well, we got more science. So down here we got the Science Junior. We also have a battery pack that we can use. Do we not get solar panels at this stage? Apparently not. Radiator panel, high gain antenna, so another antenna that we can use. But there's another science module. All right. Flight control. So this one gives us control surfaces. So like our stabilizing fins, we can actually get some that we can use to control the direction and attitude of our rocket. And then we have this inline reaction wheel. So this thing, what this does is it helps the pilot fight against the aerodynamic forces that try to keep us pointed in one direction. And then another re-entry module, which not really worried about. So this is where our paths can take kind of a fork. We can start investing in aviation, which is planes. And of course, aeronautics have a very pivotal role in the history of space exploration. If we didn't learn how to fly, we would never have gone to space. Theoretically, right? So we could start building some airplanes, but they're going to be pretty pathetic, early tech, kind of just skeleton model airplanes, right? And the flying is a little wonky in this game. This game wasn't designed around aerodynamic physics, although it incorporates them to some degree. This game was designed more around orbital mechanics and space physics than atmospheric physics. So we can do that. I'm going to hold off on it for now. If that's something that you guys would like to see me kind of branch down the aviation path, I can certainly do that. Just let me know in the comments. I try to review comments as often as possible. And so if that's something you want me to do, let me know, and I will happily run down the aviation path in addition to the space path that I traditionally run with this game. What do we got? General construction here unlocks our launch mounts. So those get important as your rockets get bigger. You want to keep them standing at the launch pad. Those help with that. It also unlocks our strut connectors, which give us more stability in our rockets as we add more and more stages. We get a bigger decoupler and a even bigger decoupler. So as we add bigger parts to our rockets need to become bigger, kind of to compensate for, bigger in diameter to compensate for the additional stresses, and the larger diameter parts that have to go on them. So we get the bigger diameter decouplers to separate those stages. We also get an adapter. This is I believe it's kind of mostly just a fuselage adapter that converts a one size part to the next size part up or down. And then we have over here on the sides, we have engine plates and structural fuselage, which I believe both are, well, no, it's an engine plate, so technically I should be able to put an engine against that, or several engines against that, and it pushes the whole rocket using that piece of equipment. We can get a flag for our 1 1/4 inch rocket, so literally we could slap our space agency logo right on the side of it. And then we have a crew cabin here that we can use to bring some additional Kerbals with us. And then if we go up to the very top, and this entire tier of research here, these all have the same research cost to unlock, 45 science points. We have 69 currently, so we can only get one of these. And then we look up here at advanced rocketry, and what do we get in advanced rocketry? Well, we get our Terrier liquid engine, which is it's a vacuum efficiency engine. So it's got excellent vacuum or excellent fuel efficiency while in vacuum. But if you look at our thrust numbers, the thrust numbers are actually really, really low when compared to some of the other engines that we have. So what do we unlock? We unlock the Reliant back here. The Reliant's got 205 kilonewtons of thrust at sea level and 240 kilonewtons of thrust in a vacuum. So it's still more powerful, but if you look over here, we're looking for ISP. So engine ISP is 265 at sea level on the Reliant and 310 in a vacuum. And if we go look at this Poodle or the Terrier, thrust is 85 at sea level, or not thrust, ISP, and that's essentially your fuel efficiency with whatever engine, to 345 in a vacuum. So it doesn't have much thrust at 14 kilonewtons at sea level, 60 kilonewtons in a vacuum, but it is a very efficient engine to use while in space or anywhere where there isn't an atmosphere to influence you. We also get the Thud liquid fuel engine. These are actually relatively powerful little tiny engines that go kind of on the side of your rocket. Our T400 tank. So you remember we got the T200 here, right? Here we get the T400 tank, which double the capacity, double the weight, double the cost. And we also get some fireworks that we could shoot off. I don't do those. Mostly, I think, because I just don't understand the concept. A fuel tank adapter. So if you remember back here, yeah, a Rockomax brand adapter. I don't think that one is fuel. Pretty sure that one's just a structural one. Whereas this one has a fuel tank adapter, which literally gives you something that goes from this size diameter tank to this size diameter tank. This is the first fuel tank that we get in the next size diameter of parts. I'm tempted to go with the advanced rocketry simply because we're going to need that engine there. most likely to get us into an orbital trajectory once we leave the atmosphere. But again, it doesn't give us much thrust. But then there's the science thing, and my general rule of always get science. And I can only get one at this point. Not worried about that. Said I wasn't going to do aviation right now. If you guys want to see me run down the airplane path, I can. Just let me know in the comments. General construction, these are good. Don't know that they're really necessary now. But I don't know that that Terrier engine has enough thrust to get us orbital once we are suborbital. It's a tough call. I think we go with the science because we need more science to unlock more science. I think that's probably, I think that's probably the best course at this point. We'll get the science module. Everything else here is kind of irrelevant, but the science module right now is a good call. And we have the we got the radial decouplers earlier, right? That was there, yeah. So, what missions do we have left? We still have to test the flea at the right altitude. Clear out our inbox again. Speed record is 790 meters per second, altitude of 70 kilometers, reach space, and a land distance record of 100 kilometers. Excellent. Achieved the goal of escaping the atmosphere, and contract complete of escaping the atmosphere. So we have one active mission, which is the flea mission. Test heat shield 0.625 at the launch site. That's free money. Not necessarily something that I really want to do right now. More focused surveys. Test the parachutes, the ones that I didn't put on the last mission because we couldn't do that, and try to test the flea at its altitude. We're still in that kind of same boat here. Maybe we'll just throw more money at trying to complete that one active mission. Or maybe Alright. I think we're going to try to do two different things here. We're going to try to get that thing up to the right altitude at the right speed. And in order to do that, we're going to take this thing and put 3 of them on there. And put this thing back on that. Nope, we're over the parts limit. Dang it. Alright. Let's leave, save. We still can't upgrade that though, can we? No, we cannot. No. Resume. Well, crap nuggets. We just did 2. Where does that leave us in parts? 29 out of 30, which means we can't put. Move those further down. Nope. Can. Alright, well, I can't. Alright, but that doesn't help. We're gonna put maybe a couple of you. Get it. Good job, Bonehead. Alright, so got right. You guys go there. Alright, 2.29 thrust to weight. That'll be enough to get me off the pad. 24 seconds of burn time. That'll get me up a couple kilometers. And we pop those off and activate the swivel, which will continue launching us forward. Once the swivel burns out, we eject that, fire the flea. Hopefully we're between 59 and 65 kilometers and between 174 or 170 to 340 meters per second. I think we just really need to control our thrust on the swivel on our way up in order to hit that goal. So we'll leave that up. I don't think we're actually going to orbit Kerbin this time. I didn't mean to do that without getting the Terrier engine, but forgot that I didn't actually get the Terrier engine. I got the science thing, and I want to complete this mission. I want to get that off my board. So, ready, set, go. Should probably activate SAS. Oh, we're totally not going the right direction here. Oh well. Should probably... Come on, stay in that prograde. Nope. Stay in that prograde control. Alright, slow her down. Bring her back up here. We're going to cut her off right at 60. See how we're doing on speed when we get up there. We're at 40 kilometers now. .45. Slowing down rapidly. We need 59 to 65. We're just crossing 60, just shy of 61. Maybe we'll point horizontally here, because I have a feeling that we're just gonna hit it here. Alright, we're in the altitude window. Come on, speed. Still going up. And we're good. Bye-bye. Alright, and that's going to give me that mission. Alright, I'm not going to slow down that way. That will. And shoots are primed, ready to go. And you see how I'm kind of just tossing and turning randomly in the wind. SAS is off. I can start my own flip here. And eventually, Valentina is going to throw up. But also eventually, as we hit the atmosphere here at 1,200 meters per second, 1,300 meters per second, we're start getting a little toasty. I didn't put a heat shield on this because we're not really going that fast relatively, but you'll see as we start to see those heat effects, here they come, that my rotation is going to start slowing down, and eventually it's going to stabilize with the butt end of this pod pointing into the wind. And there it goes. Woo! That was close. And there goes my chutes. I'm going to see that engine chunk splash down in the water here in a minute. Log. Nope, not going to give me anything. Bang. Crew report. Yeah, I get your crew report. So why can't I do science experiments here? Flying at Kerbal. But flying over Kerbal's water. Huh. Okay. Sure. And we'll do another one in Kerbal's water. And we'll at least get a little bit of science out of it. It looks splashed to me. It's a bit I'll be able to recover. And get a little bit of money back for that part. Nope, we did not achieve orbit on that launch. I'm thinking we're probably not going to achieve orbit on this stream, but join me back here next Wednesday night, and I will be jumping back on Kerbal Space Program and picking up where we leave off tonight. This will be the last mission for today. Unfortunately, I do have other things that I've got to get done, but Wednesday for some more Kerbal Space Program, where we'll continue to try to reach orbit and beyond, and then come back tomorrow night. Tomorrow is Thursday, so that means, excuse me, some more. It is Thursday tomorrow, right? I believe it's Thursday tomorrow, which means more Imperion with the Hammer crew. So come back for that. You guys are in for a bit of a surprise. I know that the guys have made some, let's say, progress. I kind of jumped in there earlier today just to peek around and see what's been going on, and there wasn't anybody on at that point, and I wasn't gonna try to stream it. I just wanted to take a look around and see what was going on, and there have been some pretty big changes since I logged off last Thursday. So yeah, come back, join me for some more of that tomorrow. We'll pick up. I think tomorrow I'm going to plan to try to do some of the story missions, at least everything that has me on the planet. And then once we get off the planet, there is a couple other story missions that proceed beyond that, but we'll come back for that. Tomorrow, I don't know how far we'll make it. Probably stream for about 3 hours or so, just like I did tonight and last night. I think 2.5 hours, 3 hours, somewhere in that time frame. And starting at 8:30, 8:30 my time, U.S. Central. So, yeah, there's all that, and hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye bye.